Leo wasn't a brave man. He was a collector of oddities, a lover of forgotten things. That's what brought him to the Blackwood Forest, a place local legends advised everyone to avoid. He was searching for antique bottles, maybe a Civil War button if he was lucky. He'd never expected to find the music box. It was half buried under the gnarled roots of an ancient oak tree, its wooden surface warped and stained by years of damp earth. The intricate carvings were almost worn smooth, depicting weeping figures and skeletal trees. Despite its grim appearance, an irresistible curiosity seized him. Back in his workshop, surrounded by dusty relics, Leo carefully cleaned the box. It was made of a dark, unfamiliar wood, cool to the touch. There was no keyhole, no obvious way to open it. He ran his fingers over the carvings, tracing the mournful faces, when his thumb accidentally pressed a hidden latch. The lid creaked open with a sigh of stale air. Inside, there was no dancing ballerina, no cheerful tune. Instead, a single, polished metal cylinder sat in a velvet-lined compartment, pricked with thousands of tiny pins. On the inside of the lid, a single phrase was faintly inscribed in Latin: "Canta pro animabus perdidis," sing for the lost souls. A small, tarnished crank protruded from the side. Leo hesitated for only a moment before his collector's instinct took over. He had to know what it sounded like. He gave the crank a tentative turn. A single, clear note chimed out a haunting, melancholic tone that seemed to hang in the dusty air. And then, it happened. For a fleeting second, the face of a young woman shimmered in the air before him. Her eyes were wide with terror, her mouth open in a silent scream before she vanished like smoke. Leo stumbled back, his heart hammering against his ribs. He recognized her. She was Alice Munro, a hiker who had vanished in Blackwood Forest a decade ago. It was just a trick of the light, he told himself, a hallucination brought on by dust and an overactive imagination. But he couldn't shake the image. The next day, driven by a mixture of fear and a strange sense of duty, he turned the crank again. Another note, deeper and sadder than the first, filled the room. This time, the face of an old man appeared, his brow furrowed with confusion and despair. Leo recognized him to Mr. Abernathy, a birdwatcher who had gone missing 5 years prior. His car was found at the edge of the woods, but he was never seen again. A chilling realization dawned on Leo. The box wasn't just playing music. Each note was a requiem, a summons for one of the forest's lost souls. He became obsessed. He locked himself in his workshop, neglecting food and sleep. Each turn of the crank brought a new note, a new face. A child with tear-streaked cheeks, a young man with a look of betrayal, a woman with an expression of pure, unadulterated fear. They were all faces from missing persons posters he'd seen plastered in town over the years, all linked by one common thread. They had all disappeared in Blackwood Forest. The melody the box played was incomplete, a fragmented and sorrowful tune that seemed to grow more complex with each new soul he summoned. He felt like a grim conductor, leading an orchestra of the dead. One night, as he played the fifth note, the face that appeared was different. It wasn't someone he recognized from a poster. It was a man from centuries ago, dressed in colonial era clothing, his face a mask of rage and agony. As his apparition faded, the music box began to shake violently in Leo's hands. The wood grew ice cold, and the air in the workshop thickened, heavy with a palpable sense of malice. He understood then. The box wasn't just a catalog of the missing. It was a prison, and it was disturbing something ancient and powerful that resided within it. He tried to stop. He hid the box in a chest, buried it under old blankets. But the faint, ghostly melody now played constantly in his mind. The faces of the missing appeared to him in his dreams, their silent screams echoing in his subconscious. They weren't just showing him their faces anymore. They were showing him how they died. Flashes of being chased through the woods, of a shadowy figure with no face, of a cold that seeped into their bones. He realized the box was a trap, not just for them, but now for him. It was feeding on his fear, his obsession. Leo knew he had to return it. He couldn't destroy it. He felt a strange certainty that doing so would doom the souls within it forever. Under the pale light of a full moon, He carried the music box back into the heart of Blackwood Forest. The woods felt different now, menacing. Every rustle of leaves sounded like a whisper. Every shadow seemed to move. He found the ancient oak tree and began to dig, his hands raw and trembling. As he placed the box back into the hole, the air grew still. For a moment, there was absolute silence. Then, a final, single note chimed from the buried box. A note he hadn't played. It was a note of resolution, of peace. And in the air around him, dozens of spectral faces appeared, one after another. But this time, their expressions weren't of terror or pain. They were calm, almost grateful. They looked at Leo, a silent thank you in their eyes, before fading away into the moonlight. Finally at rest, the fragmented melody in his head completed itself, becoming a beautiful, serene lullaby before it faded into silence forever. Leo stumbled out of the woods, exhausted but at peace. He never went back. He gave up collecting oddities, choosing instead to focus on the simple, living things in the world. Sometimes, on quiet nights, he thinks he can hear a faint, beautiful melody on the wind, a song not of lost souls, but of souls finally found. The forest kept its secret, and Leo, its reluctant keeper, was finally free. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Tales from the Shadows. Let me know in the comments what you think happened in those woods. Stay safe, and see you next time.